So they've got the way too early odds for next football season. They've got the projections for the Super Bowl winners for next season. And not surprisingly, depending on which one you look at, the 49ers are the favorite or the Chiefs are the favorite, just depending on which.
I'm shocked by that. No.
It's stunning. But what was consistent in the couple that I sent to you is that the Seahawks have them at 66-1. They have them like there's literally teams like the Bears, teams with worse records, some with new coaches as well, that they have better odds at the Super Bowl than the Seattle Seahawks, which I found amazing. The Seahawks were a winning team. They were in the playoffs the year before. They had the same exact record as they had the year before. They've got what most people considered the best young coach that was available out there, Mike Macdonald. He had one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and he ran the best defense in the NFL in terms of scoring. Even if you improve this defense to a marginal level, which they were below, wouldn't that rationale tell you that this is going to be a better team than they were last year? I'm a little surprised that there's that. And listen, this is before the draft. This is before we know what rosters look like, who's coming, who's going. We don't know who's staying, all that. So all this can change. It is just conversation. But just on first blush, I'm like, I feel like this coach would be a step up, an improvement. This team was right there. They're a game out of the playoffs. And teams like the Bears or Vikings, you've got as better odds. And in the Falcons, brand new coach there. I find that interesting.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't make sense to me would be the Falcons. I think you could have a pretty decent explanation for a team like the Jets, assuming Aaron Rodgers is healthy, the Vikings, if Kirk Cousins is back, and if he doesn't get hurt, the Bears getting the number one pick, so high on that. But what this tells me, all those things you just mentioned about the Seahawks, is there a lot more unknowns than we might be looking at. So, yes, the defense should improve, but how does Mike Macdonald do as a first-time head coach? That's the question that obviously loomed over our entire discussion about, well, are they taking a risk by hiring a coordinator to be a first-time head coach? Yes. And while we can expect the defense to improve, you might have to look at the offense as potentially taking a step back because you're putting in a head coach who's not familiar with that side of the ball, and you're bringing in an offensive coordinator who's never been a coordinator at that level. So there are a lot of new ideas and concepts taking place on the offensive side. So it's almost like, hey, you got to start from scratch. Don't look at 9-8 last year. Don't look at the last few seasons of the Seahawks being good. In my mind, this is the Seahawks team. You have no idea what to expect because of how players will respond to coaching, because of what we were talking about. You said, hey, free agency, draft, all those things that still have to be sorted out. And that kind of seems to me the national perception of the Seahawks is that there are a lot of questions, and they aren't so high on them yet.
Yeah, again, I get having questions. I get the uncertainty of a new head coach, but you've got teams ahead of them. First of all, the Jets are a dumpster fire. You got infighting. You got Saleh out there combating, word getting leaked out about this, that, and the other. You got Zach Wilson being ripped by the ownership. Is a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers the cure to every one of their ails? I mean, he's out there calling people chicken bleep for letting stuff leak out of the building. I mean, they were a disaster. They were. And then they've got better odds. The Falcons have a new head coach. The Chargers have a new head coach. The Bears, the Bears are going to have presumably a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams, and they were not a good team this year. And you're going to throw a rookie into the mix. That's the thought. They've got better odds. Vikings, you're right. Kirk Cousins, we'll see if he comes back. He's a free agent. Not sure if he's going to come back to that team. But I was stunned going, wait, you've got the Jets, the Falcons, the Bears, Chargers. They've got a new head coach. I know Harbaugh is one at this level, and he's a winner, but still a new head coach. If we're worried about a new system, new terminology, that's true of any team with a new head coach, whether they've been in the NFL or not. So I don't know. Some of those teams I'm going, why would this team have better odds than the Seattle Seahawks? Again, this isn't anything super serious. It's just sort of the outside perspective. These are the Vegas odds, I guess, at this point. Interesting that there's that little faith, and I guess maybe I'm too bullish on the Seahawks. My expectation is not that they take a step back. I don't look at this and go, well, and I know Dave kind of said it, and we were going to have that conversation. We still will when he heals or gets better, whatever's going on. But he had a feeling that, new coaching staff, maybe they take a step back before they step forward. I'm going, well, defensively, you couldn't step any further back. You're already at the back. Offensively, this is a middle-of-the-road at best offense last year. So how much further back is it going to go with a new coordinator? My expectation is this is a better team. I feel like this should be a playoff team. Again, saying that without knowing what the final roster looks like. Don't know who's going to be coming back from the current roster. You're bringing Bobby Wagner back, Jordan Brooks, Devin Bush. Are those guys coming back? Any of them coming back? One of them? Who knows? So I get the uncertainty, but I don't know. My expectation with this coaching staff is that this becomes a better team. Is it 5 wins better, 3 wins better? No, but I think this should be a better team. I'm expecting that this should be a playoff team.
Here's why I would say I could see them taking a step back, so more in line with what kind of Wyman was getting at. Now, there is precedent. Sean McVay came in right away, took over a Rams team, and he won 11 games his first year. Then they went to the Super Bowls next year. Mm-hmm. But for the Seahawks team, you're trying to get out of mediocrity. So making the playoffs at 9-8 2 years ago, okay, you did it. You made the playoffs, but you didn't really have a chance to beat the Niners. 9-8 again this past season, you don't make the playoffs. So to get rid of Pete Carroll, you're saying we're going in a completely new direction. We are not just building to make the playoffs. So if the expectation is to make the playoffs, yeah, they got better, but I could see them taking a step back if they come in and Mike McDonald and John Schneider think, look, we don't want to get to the playoffs. We have to win a Super Bowl, and the way to do that is to tear down. Not tear down completely, but to make some moves that might be considered bold in order to accentuate what you do well, to get to that next level. Because if you find yourself in a situation where maybe you're stuck in an offense that you need more impact pieces, you need more draft picks, or in a defense that guys who we think could be impact players, if this staff and this new set of eyes doesn't like him, it might require some roster overhaul. Mm-hmm. So we're going into this thinking, okay, look, all the pieces you have back, yeah, maybe the defense should improve because of those guys. Maybe the offense, what they have is there. But if the Seahawks don't see it that way, if they say, look, this is a mediocre team and we need to make a bold move to get better, it might require a little tiny step back in this next season.